Hey, still can't hear us? Okay, Garrett, can you? Okay, can you unmute? Can you see if we can hear you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Can you still hear me?
Yeah. You're not very loud, we can hear you.
Okay, I'll talk loud. All right, so we're to the enrollment report?
Yes.
Okay. District-wide, as of September 15th, we are at 1,362 students, which is 22 students above projected budgeted numbers and 30 more students than where we were last year at this time. The elementary is up 23 from budgeted, the middle school is up 6, and the high school is down 7. And that's about all. The average class size for Elmira is sitting at 23.3 and Veneta is at 25.4. And that's about all I have, unless the board has any questions on any of the numbers.
No.
Motion to approve the enrollment report.
I make a motion to approve the enrollment report. I'll second.
We have a motion second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Why don't we do the motion now? We did it anyway. Never mind. Had the wrong thing underlined. All right. General fund revenue and expenditure report. That's what we need to learn for.
Yeah, so not a lot going on. Not a lot to talk about on this one. We have July and August revenue on there, which is 17% of our budgeted revenue. That's mostly due to the July state school fund payment because we receive over double that month. Our expenditures, we've spent 5%. That's pretty low as well. We just processed our larger payroll today. So next month, the expenses will go up quite a bit. And that's about all I have on there. Any questions?
Now we need to move into this. Sorry about that.
I make a motion to approve the budgeted revenue report or funding. I can't read what it is there.
That's right.
I make a motion to approve the general fund revenue and expenditures report. I'll second.
A motion and second. And any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Juana. Reports. Director of Control.
Reports. Yes, this is Marshall. Now couldn't be here today. I'll do some things quickly go over. 4 different topics: facilities and maintenance. In order to improve efficiency and communication, some things that are happening. We're updating our work order procedures. She started to have Monday morning meetings with the maintenance staff to kind of get planned for the week, what folks are doing. We're updating storage and inventory in the warehouse. We're working on our Healthy and Safe Schools plan, which includes water testing at every faucet in our district here in the next month or so, which will take some time. We're working to update our asbestos plan as our Langer Division 22 is due by November 1st. So that'll be something on the agenda in October. We'll have to report to the board that I think it's 59 total requirements that we're in compliance with. And kind of initially going through them, one thing that I think we need to update, or else I might have a plan when I present to you in October to get us in compliance, is around our asbestos plan. It's older than I thought it was. I think we need to update it and still some new things. So she's working on updating our asbestos plan. Again, I hope to have it all in place by October at the board meeting. So we started working on Division 22. That's something she's spending time on, is that particular piece. Integrated guidance, SIA, high school success, DTE, Major 98, Everyday Matters, early intervention. Those are all things that fall under integrated guidance. We're working on creating a district community team. If any school board members are interested in participating on this team, she'd love to hear from you. Really, it's about just sharing what we're doing with all these things. and getting input from different folks. Let's see, if you agree to participate, you work with Ms. Marshall to facilitate community engagement and planning for this integrated guidance tool. ESSER 3, reminder, this is federal dollars that came to us through as a result of the pandemic. We're continuing to plan and update the use of these dollars. Some of our 22-23 expenditures so far were in the works. As you may have done if you're at a football game, we updated our outside audio, the football game, of that outside stadium. One of the things, the way we were able to get that approved, because any purchase over, I think, $5,000 after the provider reports and to get approved, was that in times of emergency or COVID protocol, masking, that kind of thing, with our old system, we really couldn't communicate with anybody. We could talk to people right there in the stands, but people throughout the stadium, other sideline, could not hear any of that. Now we can. We're working on, we've already started accepting bids on the EHS intercom, as I think I talked to you about. It's kind of a priority. I think we're getting starting on that project around Christmas break, and continued HVAC repairs across the district. We opened a PO with this company at the beginning of the summer. I allocated almost $200,000 worth of work. We went completely through the middle school, service every unit, fixed any repairs, actuators, dampers, updated our software so we can control a little bit better. Now they've moved on to the high school and they're going through every unit there. I think it will be a big upgrade for us. Once they get done here in the next month or so, not that things can't go wrong, but the heating portion of both of our systems of the building, everything will be supposedly operating efficiently. And then we're going to move on to the chiller system at the high school, which hasn't operated in probably 5 years. The high school does not have air conditioning, but they have what's called a chiller, much like the way our heating system works there. We warm air, we warm water. We have hot water. It goes through pipes that then goes through a device that air blows over these hot water pipes. Kind of the same thing with the chiller. It's that big unit that cools water, sends it out through these pipes, goes to devices the air blows over. And it hasn't been operating for quite a while. For us, the chiller is really needed, maybe a week in September sometimes, and then the last month of the school year occasionally. So it's certainly not the highest priority, but I would like to get it working right. And once this company gets out of their heating system and stuff, we're going to move on to that. Curriculum. Last year we went through English language arts adoption. This year we're scheduled for math adoption for use the following year. However, we'll be working with Lane County partners and our privileged school district textbook curriculum team to implement new standards and find the best curriculum for our students. There's a chance that right now Lane SD is recommending districts hold off on adopting for a year for math because the new standards don't come out for a year. So they're worried districts will adopt, spend a significant amount of money on all this new curriculum, then the standards are changing and these textbooks haven't really aligned to what the new standards are. So there could be some scenario where, in particular at the high school, because that's where the standards are changing the most, that we either don't adopt and wait till a year, or we adopt K5 or K8 and hold off on high school. So more to come on that. And that is the extent of her updates. As far as my things, 4 things to go over, just really people that enrollment report again. Want to touch base on that. As Kwana summarized, we're up around 22 students to budget. 1362 down there at the bottom. We budgeted 1340. Typically we drop throughout the year, so I would expect this to be probably by the end of the year right about where we budgeted, which is good. We did hire 2 new teachers at the start of the year, both at Veneta Elementary. If you scroll up to Veneta, you can see that we had, let's see. Yeah, Veneta, there's 3 kindergarten classes there. So we had 63 kindergartners show up at Veneta, which is way more than typical. Or no, 65, I guess. So we added a teacher there, and then our first grade classes, you can see we had 52 total first graders, and we needed a blend. Bottom line is we added 2 teachers. One of them was already in the budget. So we had a teacher retire last year and because again, enrollment's kind of been a guessing game this last 2 years. We kept it in the budget, but we didn't fill it. So it wasn't an add to our budget to add that new teacher. And then the second teacher, we used ESSER dollars, our CARES Act money, under the auspice of impossible for us to gauge enrollment this year due to COVID.
Right.
We had this last minute influx. So neither one of those two teachers we added literally 5 days before kids arrived affected our bottom line versus budget. One we planned for, the second one we just carried dollars for. And then the last thing I wanted to mention on this, because it may become a topic, I'm letting kind of time die down, but administrators and some teachers are interested in at least looking at the K2-3-5 model again. So to summarize, and we'll talk about it here, the main pros of that is balanced class sizes. If all of our kinders and first and seconds are at one school and our third, fourth, fifths are at the other, it's much easier to balance class loads. And I can show examples over the last 10 years if we wanted. Here was our enrollment. Here was class sizes for both schools. Well, here's what it would have been if we were K2-3-5. The other benefits to it, we can really assign resources a little bit better. State testing would only need to occur at one school. State testing begins in 3rd grade. Curriculum, if all the first graders are at one building, for example, when we have 2 first grade classes at each building, typically we buy 4 sets of the curriculum. Well, if all 4 are at one building, could we get away with 2 and sharing, or 3 or 1 less? So there can be some cost savings. The primary downside to K2-3-5 is the culture thing will be disruption for staff. I like my building, my principal, my IAs, and now it's getting changed. It could go to another building, that's one. And for parents, it's really a disruption if you have multiple kids, right? If I got a first and second grader and a 5th grader, you know, it's kind of already advancing what it's going to look like in middle school and high school, and they have kids in different buildings, but they have kids in different buildings, makes their life a little bit more crazy. Definitely, if we ever pursued this, we really want a lot of good data, probably for our community. I can assure you the vast majority of current parents would say, no, we don't want to do this, just simply because of that craziness of multiple kids. So I don't know where we'll go. This will never be something that I bring to the board, but it will be something we're going to look into again this year and decide, no, we're staying the course, or yeah, we want to look at it.
We could definitely, though, address that, a lot of that, through being sure that there's enough time to get from Fern Ridge Middle School to Benita Elementary, or from the high school to Benita.
Yeah, we'd have to address a lot of things with the bus barn, maybe even rework our contract there in regards to the number of buses. But we would have to structure it in a way, for example, that both elementaries didn't start and end right at the exact same time.
Right, yeah.
For people that, just like middle school doesn't start at the same time and high school doesn't start. That's the reason they're cheaper. Both families, we definitely have to do that in elementary as well. Okay, just really quick, I want to touch base on AQI, because this morning I thought we were kind of over this, but then this morning my superintendent, Lake County superintendent, text message thread kind of started blowing up. The AQI in Oak Ridge was over 800, which when they were like evacuating their town, it was at 400. Lowell was at 400, and they were considering closing school. And then, you know, we were talking about canceling athletics. When it gets over 150, we're not to have kids. We're not to do activities outside, and we got over 150, so we shut down outdoor recess and outdoor PE. And it was really only there for maybe an hour, and then it turned around and went south. So I just put it on building principles. If you want to open it back up outside, you can. I think our athletic events went off this afternoon, right? 85. So we'll continue. I saw that there was an advisory for Wednesday, so this might be an issue tomorrow or the next day. It was the first time I used our Parent Square feature where I can do an alert, so that folks that were logged in would have got something immediately, not that their wait time at the end of the day. It seemed to work okay. And my Q&A at 5:30 just before the board meeting, I brought that up to the parents, and a couple of them there said, yep, we got it. We're good. So website update. We've now, although I'm sure as Andrea today, she already found one mistake today, but all the buildings and I have, and Michelle, we put through the website. And again, I'm sure there's some things we missed, so if you catch anything, but I would hope that our websites are pretty close to being updated with this year's information, whether it's calendars or names of people or pictures or anything like that. We could go to the website real quick. Another thing I wanted to mention that I'm still working on, reminder that on the left-hand side of the web page, there is a link that says district and state reports. There's probably 20, 25 items there. And scroll down, there's a couple I'm still working on. Keep going right in there. So that at the top, comprehensive school counseling parents reviewed annually. Last reviewed in 6/21. I'm in the process now with the school counselors. They're getting together, looking that over in the next month or two. Hopefully before Division 22 is due, that's going to be updated. And the second one is the one right below it, drug and alcohol. So again, with the counselors in the high school and the teacher, I've given them the plan, making sure that it's also accurate, people's names are accurate, their curriculum is accurate. And I think that is about it. Art Inc., I communicated with them. Remember, you agreed to give them an extension. I emailed her this morning, and she actually got right back to me right away. Said, "Yep, this is still their plan. They plan to have a payment to the district of $10,000 by the end of the month. I will pay in full by December." Wanted to give you that update. And Parent Square was the last thing, but I already talked about that. And that's all I have.
All right. Any questions? The next up is a co-op for wrestling with Crow.
Yes, so as you recall, occasionally some of the smaller schools that don't have enough students to offer a sport, they reach out to us to co-op. When we were 4A, this was very easy because we were one of the smaller 4A schools, and when a school like Crow co-ops with us, it wouldn't kick us up to 5A, the fact that we had there 100 kids to our 400. Now it's a little bit different. So we're going to, assuming the board approves, and the high school wants to do it, the coaches want to do it, so I'm in support of it. However, we'll have to appeal to the OSA. So they have a process that says, okay, Crow coming to Elmira, well, that would kick us back up into the 4A classification. What's the reasoning? I think there's some window, 10 or 20%, because you can't even have it considered. So we'll submit, and if OSA grants us the waiver, then we'll have a co-op with them. But again, I need board action to approve us pursuing this. And again, unlike in the past, it won't be automatic. But through this waiver process, they could approve it or not.
So is it based on the total enrollment, or is it based on the number of participants?
Enrollment. Yeah. So we have, they used to do all 4 grades. Now they only do 9, 10, and 11. Remember what the cutoff is, like 315 or something. And we're at like 309. So we're just under. So when we had Crow's 9th graders, let's say they got 25 kids, well, that puts us over. There's a window that you
barely. Yeah.
I would be in support of it.
We'll go ahead and make a motion.
I make a motion to accept the co-op with Crow for wrestling.
And I will second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Great. OSBA annual convention. I know talking to Jackie, she's not sure she's gonna be able to go. And I know you said you couldn't go, right?
What time of year was it?
second week of November here.
Yeah, I'm on vacation.
Yeah, I plan to go.
Yeah, and I think I plan to go.
I'm just decided. The pressure.
I don't mind going by myself, but
Well, no, I actually look forward to it, and I feel like I learn a lot, and
I don't look forward to it being in Portland, but
right, exactly. But
the opens the 27th, so you said for the rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know if you're interested in going, Barbara?
I probably won't be able to.
So just let Michelle confirm what kind of room you need, that kind of thing, and we'll get them look here in a couple of weeks or a week, I guess, when it opens.
On the 27th.
Yep.
All right. Next, we have some licensed personnel. Looks like we have 3.
Yeah, the first 2 are the 2 elementary teachers I referred to earlier. We hired at Need Elementary, and the third is our ELD person. So we did get that person hired. She's teaming us to be great. It's just got off to the good start.
All right, so we need a motion to
I make a motion to accept or approve the licensed employees, hires and resignation, transfer, and any other.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Then we have a long list of.
Yeah, minor result information all should be in your packet. You don't need to approve any of this.
A long list. And how many positions are we still short?
So on the certified side, we are short one PE teacher, but we have that solved with agreement with the one PE teacher. We've hired an instructional assistant, full-time dedicated gym, and then middle school counselor, which we're doing. We had interviews last week of 2 people doing reference checks. Could have the offering to someone maybe as early as tomorrow. So those are the only 2 on the certified side. On the classified side, I want to say 4-ish.
3 on the 3.
Okay. So like one at every building, maybe one building doesn't have one, so we're getting close.
High school. Are you getting applicants?
No.
Oh, okay. So
I got a report today. There are like 6 down still, maybe more.
Yeah.
They also hired a contract company to supply people for FRIs, and they have people resigning all the time from that, I guess. And
Yeah.
it's one of the
We've looked into
kind
that.
of going and
We have companies contact us all the time about, hey, you're having a hard time building this. And,
but they're having a hard time, just like, I mean, I had to get.
oh yeah, there's no doubt this is an issue across not only Lane County, but the state and across the nation.
I did notice that, the cheer coach position was, you followed through and,
Yep.
and
We,
put that position out.
we had a lady come to the board meeting and then we posted the job and I think had 3 or 4 applicants. One was hired, who happens to be the wife of the current ULO quarterback, Bo Nix.
Oh.
And anyways, at the football, they were at the football game, the first game 2 weeks ago. She also has several volunteers that are helping her. One of them, the lady that came and spoke that night.
I can hear him across the field. It sounded pretty good.
Feel good?
Yeah.
And she's like been a cheerleader at like Auburn.
Yeah.
Since.
Since you're the gymnast.
Totally qualified and
Yeah.
so how lucky difference.
Yeah.
Yep, so that went well. We used, that would be another example of us using ESSER dollars. So that wasn't in our budget, but part of it, we lost, one of the reasons we lost here was due to COVID. There wasn't sports for them to cheer and couldn't get anybody to take the job. We had interest. So for this 1 year, we're using ESSER dollars to post the job. It'll be back in the athletics budget in the spring.
What does that typically cost?
Just roughly.
Yeah, so the salary, I want to say is like, it's one of the higher ones because it goes for 2 seasons. So it's like kind of a head football, head basketball, like low 5,000s maybe.
Okay.
But again, it's a longer, essentially 2 sports. It's like
Exactly.
2 sports.
Yeah.
And so payroll costs, it probably costs, and actually I probably said that too. I'd be mid 3,500 in total payroll costs. It's a little over $5,000. But when it's a team, though, also we'll budget some supply money, some travel money, some other things like that. But for now, we're just funding the coach.
Nice. Very good.
All right, any late or closing? Items, closing comments?
Open houses all happen in the next week.
Yeah, thanks for Michelle for putting those on the.
Okay, I see now that the district club fundraiser has been rescheduled to September 24th.
Yeah, and a new location.
So we're sure their church.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This Saturday. Yep.
What is the fundraiser?
It's like, it's the these cornhole tournament.
Cornhole, they're not. They're doing a cornhole.
Bingo, brat,
Just during the day?
Saturday at 1.
Okay.
Yeah, the one time that I went, when it was out at Art Inc. before the end of the world, I won a couple of prizes and I won a couple of things that I bid on that I didn't want.
I had a schedule out there because of the extreme fire danger. They had to cancel it.
Right,
It-
yeah.
So, although it went from extreme to moderate pretty fast last week. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a similar thing as when you went out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. If there's nothing else. We're adjourned.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all. Gentlemen.